Brace yourself for something fuel-nominal. Unleaded 88 is the clear fuel choice. It's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. And it's grown by Iowa corn farmers. Now that's totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Baker's Pharmacy, care is what's most convenient for you. Care is being here when you need us. We're open evenings and weekends. Care is helping you save more. Most insurance plans and discount cards are accepted at your local Baker's Pharmacy. Care is saving you time by managing your prescriptions online. You can request refills, check order status, and more. Care is convenience that works for everyone. Baker's, a world of care is in store. Services and availability vary by location. Age and other restrictions may apply. For coverage, consult your health insurance company. Visit the pharmacy or our site for details.
With your host, Andrew Donaldson. This is Heard Tell.
My, do things change quickly. Even here on Heard Tell, where we try to do things where we actually go a little slower. We let stories bake usually a little bit. We don't just react to things. Even for us, things went quick over in the UK. It seems like just a few weeks ago, we had our friend Lettice Bromovsky on talking about Liz Truss versus Rishi Sunak. Then we had her back on again when Liz Truss won that outright. Well, now Liz Truss has already resigned her premiership, and Rishi Sunak is the next man up. The announcement that basically running unopposed, nobody else could get enough. So he will be the new leader of the Conservative Party, and by de facto, he will become the Prime Minister of the UK during this very turbulent time. So we're going to run back what we talked about Rishi Sunak during the original leadership debate about 6-7 weeks ago now, because it all still applies. His background, who he is, what we think of him, it just kind of shows how these things go. Because remember, during that leadership debate, he had the backing of the MPs. When it went to the wider party, that's when Liz Truss pulled ahead and won. So it was no surprise. He still has the backing of those MPs. And those MPs are going to be very important because obviously Liz Truss did not have that backing, and we all see what happened. So here's our rerun. Lettice Bromovsky on Rishi Sunak right now on Heard Tell.
Established. Let's start with Rishi Sunak. He went wire to wire in the MP portion of this race. He was the favorite. He held the votes all the way through. He's a young guy. I believe he's 42 years old. Good-looking guy. He comes from Punjabi Hindu family, which of course is a big subset culturally in the UK. That'll be something folks want to talk about. Educated, Oxford, of course. Went to Stanford on a Fulbright scholarship. So he has some American tendencies. He's wealthy. He's ambitious. He's obviously political. But who is Rishi Sunak?
God, I mean, well, you covered him off pretty well there. He has for the last 2 years been the Chancellor of the Exchequer here. So he's been largely in charge of the economy. And to give him his dues, he's had to manage it during a particularly difficult time, you could say, as we've been going through COVID. And he has done that, well, to some extent. Some people obviously criticized him for it, but he did well. He supported the economy. He sent people on furlough during those 2 years. He did things like the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, essentially trying to support small businesses through these incredibly tough times. But what we're seeing now is a sort of shift in that dynamic where I feel as we exited the COVID pandemic, some will say it's not quite over yet, but I would say, for me, in my mind, at the start of this year, life very much began to get back to normal. We were going out, eating out. We were going back into work, going back into the office. Life was just kind of opening back up. And I think that he potentially missed an opportunity there to go back to real conservative values, perhaps. And instead, in April, when we had our financial budget released, he chose to increase national insurance taxes, and he said he would next year be increasing corporation tax. For me, I think this was a bad move, particularly corporation tax, as we're at a time when we want businesses to kind of be flocking to the UK to sort of have our post-Brexit, post-COVID boom. And that's where I think he's slightly lost a beat on this. But as you say, he is an incredibly intelligent man. He's very well educated in economics. He's got himself into a little bit of a few scandals. I was interested in how you were picking up on his Americanisms there. There was a scandal, and mainly one of his main ones, there have been two, I would say, was that he got into a scandal over his wife's non-dom status, which essentially meant that even though he was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, his wife was fully legally, I might add, avoiding taxes by remaining not a citizen of the UK. And so he got in quite a lot of hot water about that. He also has a green card, which when this came out, people were very unhappy about this, mainly because it felt almost like at any moment he would just leave the UK to become an American citizen and instead kind of turn his back on us. And it was very fraught at the time. But other than that, he has been the very clear front runner throughout this entire leadership contest. And I still do think it'll be quite close between him and Liz.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, we clipped off one of your princes. Now we're getting one of your PMs through. I'm kidding. I'm joking. One quick little tidbit about him also, though, is you just mentioned it, though. Some of the little whispers you're getting now politically wise is he changing too much, trying to craft a prime minister image from what he has been as an MP? Because people are starting to deem on that as like, okay, well, you're adjusting just to become prime minister now. Is that going to hurt him going forward?
No, because in many ways he will have to adjust, because being Chancellor of the Exchequer, although being in one of those main positions within our government is the only way you can sort of practice to be Prime Minister. And I think that's why a few of the other candidates fell off a little early, is because you do need that experience. Being Prime Minister of this country is a different job, though, and he will have to fashion himself in a sort of new light and in a new way, as that'll just be shifting into a new role. One of the main concerns, though, of this is whether this will lead to a lot of infighting within the Conservative Party. It got to the point, we have a few televised debates here between the leadership candidates as they go. And in fact, the last one ended up being cancelled because Rishi and Liz Truss pulled out, because it was seen to be far too damaging to the party image. And I think that is a very important point to touch on there, that and Liz actually said it in an interview recently, that even if Rishi wins, she would hope to have Rishi within the fold of the Conservative Party, and that at the end of this, it'll all be about uniting the party together to continue on with all the financial difficulties and international difficulties that we have going on.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.